taxes, inflation, and the breakdown of the family are causing us to fall behind. We have the lowest net worth in the United States, and I'm sure those numbers cross the border as well.
Some people get the disability tax credit and they don't open the registered disability savings plan, and that's where the government puts in all the money of grants and bonds for a person with a disability who has done all the steps. Some people don't do all the steps.
Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, and 2022, I believe, Innovation Award winner. I think I got that reverse. Innovation Award winner 2020 and Best Podcast News Award winner 2022. I did the reverse. Sorry about that. That's okay. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers since 2020. Here we go, 2020 again. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And just thinking about that in regards to the podcast that I co-host, we're actually doing a online fatherhood summit coming up on September 26th to 28th. I'll probably start putting that out and sharing that information in the next few weeks. All things being good. We're broadcasting live on August 30th. One more day and August is done. In this part of the world, this is Labor Day weekend, so it's officially considered the end of summer. We here in Toronto today, I believe we're getting some decent weather, but it's supposed to rain on and off for the rest of the weekend. But the end of summer is allegedly here. So just want to hear, how was your summer? Oh, by the way, Ryan, my co-host Ryan Knight, I'm hoping he's here. I didn't hear that he wasn't going to be here, but just hope that everything's going okay with him. Just got to hit up some comments here. Fitness IQ Cam. Oh yes, the lady who wants mafia. Monin. And wow, congrats. Congrats to what? Oh, the online summit. Yeah, thank you. And actually been doing a number of interviews because we're pre-recording the conversations ahead of time so they can just run throughout the 3 days of the summit. So thank you because of that. I appreciate that. All right, what else? Let's do some house stuff. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And please, want to get to 1,600 subscribers. We're getting closer, but if you're up to it, please feel free to subscribe, especially on YouTube, and share the information out. This is an epic conversation. I've got to think we're coming up to maybe early next year, about 4 years of doing the Morning Vibe. Yes. I'll maybe work on some other projects and opportunities around the Morning Vibe. Myself and Ryan are working on offline in regards to that. Also like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. As always, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on our show or any of the shows that I'm part of, email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And, give me a second. I got something bothering me in my eye. Okay, I think that's okay now. All right, so join the Morning Vibe Discord group. We continue the conversations offline. So email me again, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And also, you can if you're up to it, support Indie Soup Media. Here goes this eye thing again. I don't know what's going on. Okay, maybe I have to flush it with some water. Take a break and do that. We'll see. All right. So Indie Soup Media, Independent Content Creators Network, about 40 independent content creators, hosted and powered by our dear friend Dr. Tachi out of the Fort Lauderdale, Florida area. And a number of conversations that I am part of are part of that network. They're about 6 months old now, and I also sit on the advisory board. So 6 months in, 17,000 plus subscribers. If you're up to it, support Indie Soup Media, you're supporting Dr. Vibe, and you're also supporting independent content creation, which is very important. So let me ask, how can someone start building wealth while managing a disability?
So this is where it goes with you need to know the nature of your disability and how much employment or self-employment you're willing or capable of doing. Because your greatest building tool is your income, not necessarily the benefit you're getting from disability long term or social assistance. And it's very rare for people to win the lottery or have a sugar daddy. So it's dependent on you. And then financial literacy is still something that's not an easily available conversation for people. And the way that disability programs are. So, like long term disability, I'm not eligible for it because I never had an employer long enough to give me access to long term disability. But I'm learning that the payout is 60 to 80% of your income. And depending on the employer and the policy that they're choosing for you, that you pay into when you become an employee, they can choose the option that you're not able to work in your industry. So then some of them make you choose to work in a different industry to remain eligible for their 60 to 80% payout when the payout may or may not increase with inflation. Then you're just getting the payout for your disability, and then you have to request permission to go back to work. And then you have to get a doctor's note that says you're able to go back to work. So I'm really, really happy that I didn't access an employer that gave me employment disability because they cut off my choices. Me being on Ontario Disability Support Program, it's two parts. There's income support, then there's employment support. The minute I knew employment support was available to me, so I got approved for disability in April 2011. Then around 2016, I finally got access to the policy directive for self-employment, and I went back and started my business again. But the caseworkers, even now, I have the issue now with the caseworker. They don't process revenue minus expenses equals net income. So my disability should be calculated based on net income. But when I log into their system and I submit my profit and loss statement, and I put in the box for July, I made 150 gross income, and there's a negative amount for net income. So I have to put in the system $0 because I don't have a permanent caseworker. I now have to go into the office and the on-duty caseworker processed my file. She asked me, did you make $150 this month? I said, no. She said, okay. I come home. The 150 got moved to net income. And now for August, my payment added the $100 work-related benefit, because when you make a profit over $100 in your business, they add a $100 work-related benefit. Technically, that money is not mine. And because I don't have a permanent caseworker who's going to double check my file, I have to wait until the future until I get a permanent caseworker. And if they audit my file, that $100 could be added to my overpayment.
Okay, and just for everyone, again, watching live or on the replay or listening on the replay, these Minnie is talking about Ontario. It could be different in other jurisdictions, not only in Canada but the United States, but she's using her lived experience from Ontario.
What I know about other countries, they all have an earned income cap. They all have a clawback, payback system, and they they don't all view self-employment the same way of how many expenses you can report, or like Alberta follows the CRA's operating business expenses
Yeah.
list, while Ontario made a separate one instead of following CRA's business revenue expenses formula. That's the tax law. And then the US, you could go back to work. They have like an 8-month program of going back to work, but they view IRS self-employment normally like their tax law. So it's super annoying that for Ontario and then different provinces, they pick and choose what each province wants to do. Then England has different things over there. Then Australia has their different program. And these are the 4 richest countries that we have in the world. And then the other countries, they don't even acknowledge disability exists. They just want you to stay home and don't do anything, and hopefully your family takes care of you.
Okay. Fitness IQ Camp says, I always wondered about that actually, Minnie, with employers and disability benefits. Sorry. Wayne Harris has a question. Is disabled while black a thing? No conversations in the home, no understanding or acceptance of the condition, no support?
This is why I'm doing my leadership training at Race and Disability Canada that is sponsored by DEEN, which is DEEN support. They're a Muslim disability charity for Canada.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And I need to find what DEEN stands for, because January I did a survey that I saw in my feed because I have a lot of disability information in my feed. And then January, $35 landed in my account. And it said for DEEN services, I had to look them up to see who they were. And
Yeah,
now,
because not all money is good money, right?
well, no, it's not that. Like, I'm okay doing focus groups, interviews, as long as they give me an email money transfer. A lot of them will try to give you a gift card, but the gift card makes the corporation rich. While if I got my email money transfer for doing the honorarium or the focus group or the one-on-one interview, I get to decide where that money goes. And we know my income is my best wealth building tool. So it either pays off credit card debt, or it goes into my registered disability savings plan, or my tax-free savings account, or the first home savings account. Like, I have 5 investment accounts I have to manage now over a period of time within the rules of Ontario Disability Support Program. So I'm not going over the asset limit and still remain eligible so that I get the health insurance to cover my prescriptions. It's a lot of planning, but I did break it down in 7 steps by following the Dave Ramsey baby steps. It's just people don't know it exists. And I know that because they're booking themselves on my calendar.
Okay. All right. So another conversation piece for you. What financial resources or programs are available specifically for disabled individuals?
This is where I'm exploring. Like, I know Prosper Canada has a benefits finder, and they try to do things on the national government level. And then I just enrolled into the financial coaching program with Credit Canada. They call it a gold program. And it's specifically for people that have income less than $2,000. And then when I was filling out the form, it asked if I was on ODSP. So there's entry level financial literacy education programs. But for me, that has investment income, this is where I'm left to my own devices to try to figure it out, because there isn't a financial planning for people with disabilities investment program that, like, once my debt is paid off, then I'm saving and investing. But the investment side, people just assume everyone gets a registered disability savings plan and then you're okay. Well, no, it's actually more parts. You have to be able to plan all your investments and all your investment accounts that are registered from the federal government properly, so that you're not triggering losing disability benefits or an overpayment to the government. And then if an inheritance comes in my way, because my family, they won't talk about death, so they're not going to talk about estate planning. So if my grandma or my mom leave me money behind and I don't know how much it is, I need to know if it's more than $10,000 or less than $10,000. Less than $10,000 is not going to affect me that much. And depending on when they pass away and if I'm still on disability or not, that those numbers I need to know so I can anticipate it. So that way I know how to plan it. So then when I present as the caseworker, I'm in the position of power and not in the position of being dependent on them judging me for it.
Okay. Gotcha. Got you some comments here. Finance IQ Camp says, Wayne, I think it's more so when the disability isn't visible. And she also says, Shooks, tell a black family member you are sad and / depressed, and you'll be shocked at the response. Now, that's a whole other conversation about depression, mental health in the black environment. All right, let's do another conversation piece. How can disabled individuals protect their wealth and assets?
Well, we protect our assets the same way any non-disabled person would. It's just that we have the extra policy overhead from our disability benefits programs. And it's different. So if you're in Toronto housing, but you're not on ODSP or Ontario Works, then the asset limit for that is $150,000, but it can be in any of the registered accounts. While Ontario Works, they say if you have their asset limit is $10,000 right now. So if you're Ontario Works getting $733 a month, and then you're trying to work, they cap your income at $200, and then you're asking them is 10,000, and they're trying to right now with Income Security Advocacy Center send letters to Parliament and the MPs to have those asset limits raised and the amount you get from Ontario Works raised, because in the policy for ODSP, Ontario Disability Support Program, you're getting $1,368 a month. Your asset limit if you're a single person, no children, the non-exempt asset's $40,000. Then if you have a life insurance product like segregated funds, annuities, that limit is $100,000. Then you're allowed $10,000 in gifts. This is where I figured out I could potentially have $150,000 in ODSP, and then in the month it goes over by $1, then I hit the excess asset limit, and I have to determine if I'm eligible for extended health benefits or transitional health benefits or Ontario Trillium, or there's enough money to buy my own private health insurance that covers pre-existing conditions, or I'm paying for my medical expenses out of pocket.
Not too much work to do, by the way.
But luckily, I memorized it over the last 6 years. So
There you go. There you go. Wayne has another conversation piece saying, would you agree that short-term disability is usually full covered by the employer, so it's a taxable benefit? Long-term disability is shared costs with the employee, so it usually comes with no tax.
And that's the annoying part of all these benefits, whether they're taxable, non-taxable, earned income, non-earned income. Every piece of the policy for all of these programs are not consistent across the board. Like right now, I did a focus group for the Canada Disability Benefit, and the way the numbers are presented in the regulation right now, that it's in a draft proposal, and it's also open to the public to give their feedback on it, they can't, or they didn't word net income versus gross income on the eligibility amounts or on the earned income amounts. And I'm worried that we'll have the same chaos that we did during CERB for self-employment, because that added them adding an extra piece of paperwork that people that were self-employed had to go back and claim because they decided to agree to make it gross income instead of a net income. And then CPP disability has their own annoying, complicated rules. I'm not eligible for it right now. I've read some of it on their website. I've talked to people that are on it. They don't recognize all of the sources of income. And then some incomes that are granted to you because you receive them, they try to say that it's non-earning income. It's like Vancouver has those problems when I talk to people in Vancouver. And I wish it was consistent, because I can't give anybody a straight answer on any of these programs, because it's the details is in the policy, and then it's the details are in the policy of who can explain it to you. So with long-term disability, short-term disability, that would be a disability lawyer. And then with Vancouver's PWD or Alberta's H program, it's usually legal aid, maybe somebody in the caseworker office or someone that studies policy research. And for me, I'm reading the policy for Ontario because my survival depends on it. And I don't want to go into an office and I had one caseworker gave me one advice, then that caseworker is no longer my caseworker. Then the new caseworker I get assigned to gives me different advice.
Yeah.
And then now also with me going through employment agencies, they're giving me advice. I'm like, look, I read the policy for the last 6 years. I don't need you explaining to me the policy, but they're explaining me to the policy as if I don't know the policy. So now I have to go in and act like, oh, I don't know anything. Tell me everything. When I know what they're saying, I know which part of what they're saying is incorrect. And I also know what part is, and I can pull it up on my phone now. So now the level of me trying not to argue back at them, but I give you facts directly on my phone. Like when Fit Finance gets my screenshots.
Yes. Yes. I got you. Okay. So, and you're here with Minnie St. talking about wealth building while disabled. If you're watching live, please join in, have some conversation with us while we're here. Another conversation piece I want to ask: what I knew she was gonna. She goes, bah ha ha. She goes, okay, okay. So, what role does budgeting play in wealth building for those with disabilities?
Budgeting is a role for everybody. And I hate that people are like, oh, we don't like the word budget. You're telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went.
Say that
Like,
again.
like you're telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. I don't know if John C. Maxwell said it or Dave Ramsey say it. I say it. Like I give every dollar a job. Even Gail Vozoxy says it. Like the whole idea that, oh, I'm not gonna budget. Well, where did the last $100 go? And do you have a next $100 coming in? I know my next $100 is coming in from doing the focus group of March of Dimes, and I know that $200 is coming in because I did the podcast episode with Race and Disability Canada. And I know my last the $100 I have to spend is the chiropractor, then my eyeglasses, because ODSP doesn't cover the full amount for my new lenses for my glasses. They only cover 120. The optical store told me it's 190. Now I'm like, do I email mom and dad? Hey, my glasses are not covered. Can you give me some money? Or do I tap into my emergency fund? And then I have to replace my emergency fund and I have to make another account for medical expenses.
And fitness, your fitness goes. Tell it to the people in the back. See that you nailed that phrase again. She loves it. I'm sure that next time you and her chat,
but I just run down half of my budget right now without the spreadsheet. Like that is how well I know my numbers.
And you know what's
we could share my screen for my quick budget that's in the spreadsheets that I share with you, but I memorize all my numbers. I know all my numbers. I know the barbershop is $30 on Monday, or if I go Saturday, it's $40. Do I factor in tip? Do I go to Patty Express and get my Patty cocoa bread and cola champagne? I know the whole. Do I go on Tuesdays for my Colonel's popcorn, buy one get one half off?
Yeah,
I know all my numbers.
You know, it's just interesting because I assist a number of entrepreneurs, and I always ask them, "Do you know your numbers?" So not only should you know, not only in business, but you should know in everyday life. Like what you said, do you know where your dollars are going? So Dr. Chachi is saying, wow, Fitness IQ goes yum to some of your food choices. I guess one day, maybe 1, 2, you two will go together. You got to send me the
Yeah, we're planning brunch in Markham Station. So we found a middle ground to go.
Oh gosh. Well, give me a picture. And I know I'm not good enough to be invited to that event.
It's not that you're not in. We just planned this like 3 days ago. I said, do you know where Markham Station is? She said, yes. I'm like, okay, great. We can go there for breakfast. And then she said, Sunset Grill is better. So we plan locations. We just haven't planned a date and time yet.
Okay. Well,
and the reason I brought up Markham Station, high school, when I wasn't home at 3:00 in the morning, that's where I was.
Yeah, that place was open. Yes, that's a whole other conversation itself. Markham Station, and there's also another place on Markham and Lawrence that was open 24 hours. But that's a whole other conversation. Fitness IQ Cam goes Patty with cocoa bread and cola champagne. There she goes. Yes. And of course, she says, no, I'm not invited. She goes, no, I'm not invited. Sunset Grill. Sunset Grill, it's been interesting to see how that chain has grown, because I remember probably one of their first locations in Toronto was at Yonge, just north of Eglinton. Dr. Ted says, how wonderful that you two are getting together. Fitness IQ says, Dr. Vibe, you are chat. We just mentioned jerk chicken. I don't know what that means. She goes, I'm calling you out. I don't know. When you say this, you got to relate it.
She needs to use all 140 characters.
Yeah. Like, no, it's 200 in with this platform. Wayne Harris goes, Randy's Patties is open again. Yes, it is.
I'm waiting for the line to die down. I'll go to Bathurst Station for that bakery instead.
Okay. All right. And I haven't had I have had 1 or 2 Patties recently, but I haven't had Randy's in a long time. But I'm going to have to see if I can get down there and take a picture saying I was there for it. But okay. Let me ask, are there specific investment strategies that work well for disabled individuals?
So I learned that my account is a combination of segregated funds, mutual funds, ETFs, and then I have a taxable investment account. The reason for the taxable investment account, even though it falls in the non-exempt asset, the $40,000 limit, over time, when I tell ODSP I have too much money, that account should take care of my living expenses as I get older. Or depending on what's in it, it pays off a mortgage or it pays off student loan, like not student loans, it pays for me to go back to school. So the reason I have the taxable account is just so that I can see what it looks like on my tax return when I report on my act. Because you have to report interest earned on accounts on your tax return. Then my taxable account has its own little tax formula. Fit Finance can probably tell me what that is. But it's because I didn't want to just limit myself to registered disability account. I wanted all the accounts, like if I wasn't disabled. So this whole idea that, oh, I'm disabled, but I can only stay in this segregation of boxes. No, I thought we stopped segregation. Why? Like, the only thing I'm worried about is a segregated fund because it's a specific account under the income tax law for insurance and life insurance products. That's the only account I need to segregate. Everything else I want to integrate just like everybody else. So then eventually my income is just high earned income, but I have a disability. I don't want to be limited to under $40,000 because all the programs, they cap your income for a single person anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000. And then how exactly am I supposed to be a couple if I'm below the poverty line? Right now, dating, if I mention disability, they don't want to see me again. So I'm trying to make myself desirable for life long term, whether it's I go into a bank and they say, oh, I have these accounts with this much money in it, or some dating websites or some matchmakers only want to work with clients that their income is over $75,000 a year.
Wow. All right. All right. So Dr. Tachi says, I need a patty. It's been a while. Aren't there any patty shops in Fort Lauderdale, Dr. Tachi? Come on now. I don't know. And Fitness IQ says, I didn't say no, you're not invited. I meant no to Markham Station. Okay. And Fitness IQ Cams goes, how quick you forgot about grabbing jerk chicken. I haven't forgotten about that, Fitness IQ Cam. So don't try to call me out like that. No. Don't go there. Don't go there, Fitness IQ Cam. No. So let me also ask, how can technology assist in wealth building for those in the disabled community?
So if they have the financial background, so I like the Dave Ramsey baby steps because it lays it out to you step by step where you're not confused on what to do next.
When's he going to start giving you commissions? You love that guy. You mention him all the time here.
Yeah, but so I could become a Dave Ramsey coach and make my own coaching business, or like everybody else that follows Dave Ramsey on YouTube and Instagram and social media, we just follow the baby steps. Like there's Facebook groups of people and Reddit of just people who follow the baby steps. They live their life within the baby steps because Dave Ramsey has helped millions of people get out of debt, build their emergency fund, either eliminate credit cards 100% completely out of their life, or they're in a solid financial position where some people are paying off mortgages for their children. Like Dave Ramsey made his millionaire study of 10,000 millionaires. He made a white paper study with a private independent research organization to do it. So it's a good reference because he spent 30 years building that framework. I don't really have to guess what to do next. And then if I need to add extra details, I go with the Money Guy show, Brandon Preston and Bo Hansen, because they added, make sure you have enough money to cover your deductible, then make sure you get your government, your match from your employer, because I don't have an employer giving me a match in my retirement accounts. I have the government bond match for my registered disability savings plan. Like this year, if I deposit $5,000 before December 31st, I get $10,500 in grants and bonds. and the way my account is going, $87,000, by the end of the year, it should be at $100,000 in that one account. And that one account is 100% fully exempt from ODSP. So if I get a caseworker that looks at it, I still remain eligible for benefits. I still get my full $1,739 a month that increases with inflation. And then there's a chance when I retire at 65 and I have to take that money out when I turn 60, that I'm not in poverty when I turn 60. I'm 39 now. I'm turning 40 next year. That's a short window of opportunity to build my portfolio so that I'm not begging on the street or begging on GoFundMe for people to help me. And then depending on how I plan my estate or my wealth building, that money could go to charities that help people with disability that still remain below poverty line, because their type of disability, no matter what supports we throw at them, they're still not eligible to earn an income. Because if we're still gonna have the same political climate of people with disability and we still treat them below the poverty line or less than, we need people who are above the poverty line, who have wealth, who have assets, to leave it back to them.
I love how you have plans. You've got your focus, you got your plans, and you're moving diligently ahead. Let me just catch up here. Dr. Taji says about the patty shop. She goes, yes, they are all just west. That's where the Jamaicans live. She says Jamaicans, no problem. Again, Fitness IQ Cam, AI. Okay, in what regards? She just put this AI thing, AI. I go, what? And she asked,
I know there's financial tech companies, yes, but for a person with a disability, majority of them are below the poverty line. 1 in 4 Canadians are in poverty, so they need to get their financial house in order by the foundation, which means they need to figure out how to get an emergency fund. Then they need to figure out their options of paying off debt. For me, paying off debt was going to the bankruptcy trustee at Hoyes and Michaels to figure out what I need to do to get into a consumer proposal. Then once I was in the consumer proposal, I had more money in my budget to build my savings. Then once the consumer proposal was over, then I built up my 3-month emergency fund. Like, there's a process to the foundation that Credit Canada is trying to offer with their gold program, where it's a free coaching program for people that are eligible. If you don't change those habits, you can't get to Dave Ramsey's baby step 4 of investing 15% of your income, because you're in the bottom level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs of trying to get your basic needs met: shelter, food, clothing, beer, alcohol, sex. That's the bottom pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy of needs that I still remember from grade 10 marketing class.
I remember that from political science at university. Oh my gosh, you're going back when you're going that like that. Jeez, I may still have some of those books in storage. I don't know why, but that's another conversation. Vanessa IQ Camp goes, how far is that from you? The Patty conversation in Fort Lauderdale now is taking full thing. She's going. Fitness IQ goes, it's not too far. Dr. Taddy goes, it's not too far. I think the closest one is about 20 minutes away. I usually swing by there if I'm out that way. And then Fitness IQ Camp goes, fair. I understand. I'm not jumping in the car to get at it any time. Well, I know you're not, Fitness IQ Cam, and you know what I mean by that. I won't talk that you and I know what I mean by that comment. Wayne says TFSA, RSP, FHSA, and non-registered accounts can all be segregated accounts.
And those are all the accounts I have.
There you go. So there you go. So you're on it. And
yeah, one's a real estate fund and one's a global dynamic fund.
Okay. And Fitness IQ goes, shush, sir. Yes, I will keep quiet on that, Fitness IQ Cam. That's between you and I. Thank you. How can one balance healthcare expenses with saving and investing?
So this is where I spent 6 months calling all of the private health insurance companies to get quotes. And then I finally found a plan that I'm comfortable with what they cover. It is a little high on my budget, but because now I have the Canada dental plan by the federal government, I can't enroll in that program right away. Like, I can't pay for my own private health insurance plan right away, or go back to school and my tuition covers a health and dental plan, because I need to find out what are the possible penalties of having my private health insurance and opting out, or de-enrolling myself from the Canada dental plan. That part's not clear. I have to go back and find the website for it. I have to call probably Service Canada and be on hold for a couple hours to find that answer. So even though I'm doing all the steps financially to better myself from either employment or self-employment or my income from my YouTube channel and things like that, paying for the health insurance helps supplement a lot of the costs with disability related expenses, and then some stuff are not covered. So like the way that I have vision, prescription, and dental from ODSP, but then my dentist is like, you also need to have a supplemental plan from the Canada dental plan. And because I have the disability tax credit, I got early enrollment. And my last visit, they told me that the Canada dental plan can pay for the consultation so that I can see about, do I still need braces again because my teeth are shifting. That's not covered under ODSP. So if I need braces in the future, like if it's worth getting, like what the whole point of the consultation, so someone looks in my mouth, measures all my teeth, and then determines yes Invisalign, no Invisalign, because there's a chance that yes, my teeth are shifting, but to spend thousands of dollars on Invisalign makes no sense because my teeth are shifting at a minimal, slower rate. Like it really depends on so many factors that a lot of people on disability just don't even like they can't do it. There's no resources, no money for it. Like if someone's getting $1,368 from Ontario Disability Support Program and they have dental issues because of the medications they're on or their lifestyle choices, or they're still a smoker, or they have diabetes, like all these different disabilities that affect your teeth, the government is not necessarily going to pay for those things. This is why they added the extra dental plan that they made. And then you have to pick and choose out of the plan. I'm going forward with this or I'm not going forward with that. Like some people literally have to have no teeth in their mouth completely before a government program says, oh yeah, we'll replace all your teeth, which is UFT dentistry program. They do the false teeth or the veneers or the implants over there if you're eligible, but the waiting list is so big because so many people are trying to access it, you may not even get to see anybody anyway or get the treatment.
Point taken. Wayne has a comment as always, and I say that in positivity. He asks, have you looked at running your health benefits through your company versus personally? It becomes a business expense. Talk to your accountant.
Here's the thing about Wayne's advice. They don't fit into ODSP's section 5.4. Even though, yes, I can claim my medical expenses on my personal income taxes or the business, it actually doesn't even matter for me. But ODSP may not recognize that business expense as a business expense, which means whatever I spend on my certain insurance premiums or medical expenses and I report it to ODSP, if they don't acknowledge it, that money spent is income according to them. So that number pushes me off of disability because they're not recognizing all the expenses. Yes, CRA recognizes those expenses, but ODSP doesn't recognize those expenses. So I could have tax owing, overpaying owing at ODSP, but I owe no taxes at CRA because both governments don't agree to follow the same system.
Why? Okay, let me step back. What is the positive or not positive of the federal and provincial governments not following the same system? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the federal and the provincial governments are not aligned when it comes to this
They
sort of
never
thing.
are.
Okay.
They like, I don't know. We've been here almost an hour, I think. And I try to clearly explain the confusion of all the programs. And remember, it depends on which political party is running. So right now we have Doug Ford. Doug Ford doesn't like to do a lot of things to help people with a disability. Okay, great. We have disability inclusion representatives. They read a script. They follow what the other people ahead of them tell them to do. Even though, yes, I can write my MP, Christian Wynn. I can talk to her all the time. I met her one time in a protest where I was there walking for May Day and employment rights and labor rights and all those things. She actually doesn't really have a whole lot of power to change anything in the system. If I talk to the mayor, they don't have a lot of power to do anything. So yes, we can, like, there's a lot of templates from Disability Without Poverty, March of Dimes, Income Security Center of Advocacy. They have templates that people can send to people in power that are trying to get enough letters sent to them that they change the policy. But we know that takes years. It took them 4 years to make the Canada Disability Benefit, and they're offering $200 a month for people that are eligible for the disability tax credit, and it does nothing to lift anybody out of poverty. And they changed their attention from lift people out of poverty to reduce poverty. Okay, great, you're reducing it by $200. But if Ontario doesn't exempt that income benefit, then I'm forced to apply for my $1,739 that should have an extra $200 remains the $1,739 because Ontario is going to balance out the books so I stay below the poverty line by 50%. Like a non-disabled person who doesn't have a health condition that doesn't access these benefits, you can do whatever the F you want. I cannot. And 500,000 people are on Ontario Works. 500,000 people are on Ontario Disability Support Program. 8 million people in Canada are with the disability. 2 million of them are living below the poverty line. And then 1 in 4 people in Canada are in poverty accessing food banks. And oh yeah, we're trying to have newcomers come to the country. How many of them are going to end up on disability or on social assistance? Like once they have their papers, once they know the system in Canada, and depending on who in the family has what, or they just apply to see how it works. The amount of YouTube channels that are made by new immigrants that are talking about these social assistance programs, they actually do the video of them applying for the program step by step, and they blur out their personal information. That triggers in the system people reviewing their file. Because people are told you can get money from the government, you can get food from the government, you can get this from the government. So if they come to the country and they're eligible for it, they will.
Interesting. So Wayne says, thank you for the information that you provide in regards to running your health benefits through your company versus personally. He appreciates that information. Yeah, because it just how much improvement would there be if Canada had a national system addressing this?
It's a weird question because the systems, remember, the systems we have in place also have to make the stakeholders happy. All the people that donate their money to whatever political party, they want a return on their investment. When they run the numbers, we said at the beginning, capitalism. So like they have to run the numbers if this is profitable for who? Yeah, like I need to be able to say, like live where I am now and also be prepared if my apartment building decides to become greedy and sell my building and push me out. Average rent in the city is still $2,500 for Toronto. I'm in rent control apartment paying $960 because I've been here for 16, 17 years. Like all my numbers support this current environment. If something drastically changes, like my housing, for some reason, like either I got bought out or I'm sold out or I'm pushed out for whatever reason, I can't afford to live anywhere in the city. And I live with that fear all the time. Like, and then anytime I get a prescription from my doctor to do like a prescription I need for anything, it's no guarantee it's covered by ODSP. There's no guarantee it's going to be covered by Exceptional Access Program. And then, oh yeah, I may or may not have available credit card or savings or mom, dad, or grandma to give me the money for it. The policy change, like even if we make a national program, it's not going to include everybody because the government doesn't want to pay for everybody. That's why they made the Canada Disability Benefit Program only for people eligible for the disability tax credit. To get the disability tax credit, you need a doctor who's familiar with your health situation to fill out the form appropriately and not prejudge you that you're not disabled enough for the form. Some doctors say, oh, you're really not that disabled, I'm not going to fill out that form. Or they charge you anywhere from $50 to $200 to fill out the form.
Gotcha.
And then most of the forms in Ontario Disability Support Program, my doctor gets paid $20 from the government to fill out the form. Like she'll fill out the form, but even filling out the form, like the special diet form, it says in the policy directive that if disability ODSP office doesn't really feel like my doctor's opinion is true or accurate, they can force me to get another doctor to fill out that form. Where am I going to find another doctor to give me another opinion based on my doctor that I've had since 2004? Who's filled out every disability form I ever had since the day she diagnosed me. Like she diagnosed me, and then I have to hope and pray that she's going to fill out all my disability forms and actually be my advocate for me, that I access all the disability programs available to me. Because some doctors don't, but they promise to do no harm, but they won't help you access the disability programs.
Right. Gotcha. So Wayne has some more comments here. Coordination of benefits between each level of government makes sense, but there's not a win for any politicians as the benefit is not directly related to them.
And then politicians have more money. So even if some of the politicians are people that are in the different cabinets or different departments if they have a child with a disability, their salary can pay for it.
You mean, no, the salary we're paying them.
But still, like, okay, we can help politicians' families with the disabilities, but your neighbor next door, you're going to say, oh, they're lazy, smooching off the government? Because that's how we're divided right now.
Gotcha. So as we start winding it down here, what advice would you give to disabled individuals just starting their financial journey?
Stick with it. So, like, that was the biggest fear I had in the beginning. Once I found Dave Ramsey in 2017. I knew about the baby steps right when I came from a conference. And then I was scared to start it. Scared for a year. I didn't start it. I didn't start documenting my journey since 2018, but I knew about it from the minute I knew about Susie Orman in 2004.
Oh,
And then
man, you're going back. Suze Orman. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're an OG, and I say that respectfully. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
So the financial education for me, it's always been there. And at one point I was answering the call center to register people for their financial banker exams. I had to know your path to become a financial advisor in the bank. I had to pass 80% before I could answer the phone to register you for your courses. And then because where I was sitting, it was beside the French department, I knew it in English and French. I just couldn't answer the questions in French because I wasn't comfortable to having a conversation in French to work with the French speaking people that need to register for their CFP or their mutual fund license or the LLQP. I know exactly what the courses are in the path to take them. Just I need to pay the money to go take them. And then hopefully I'm licensed and regulated enough and they're not going to dig into my background so I can actually sell these products to people. Because I'm learning that some financial advisors, they don't believe people with a disability are profitable, so they won't manage their portfolio. How are we supposed to make financial literacy accessible to everybody when financial advisors are like, oh, you're not profitable, you're not going to be my client? But you still need to know the foundation. You still need to know the steps. So I learned from Susie Orman. I learned it from Gail Voss-Loxley. I was on a financial TV show segment where they recorded me in my house and did a little segment. I did all the things. I read all the books. I do the thing. Eventually now I had to okay, great. The government's not going to lift me out of poverty. I need to figure it out for myself. I'm making this money. Because of the stigma and judgment and all these things, I was scared not to make money because I'm worried about some government office worker that doesn't care what happens to me tomorrow, and she could lose her job tomorrow.
Right.
So I had to make a choice for myself regardless of what anybody had to say about it. And now that I'm doing it, okay, great. So now my net worth is near $100,000 total. All my accounts, all my investments. Majority is my registered disability savings plan. I stayed in contact with my financial planner since 2012. Then when I was ready to open my accounts, the minute I got approved for the disability tax credit, we opened the registered disability savings plan, and I put every penny I get, even cash advances from credit cards, in that account. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are not putting themselves in a position so that they can make sure they're saving and investing no matter the circumstances. Like anytime I get money from mom, dad, or grandma, half of it goes into my registered disability savings plan. If someone buys me a coffee, there's a good chance it's either paying off credit card or going into my registered disability savings plan. Me doing all those focus groups and interviews and honorariums and all that stuff, A good chunk of that money goes to my registered disability savings plan and then eventually all my other registered accounts. But I'm doing that regardless. And then every year I have to report all my assets to the ODSP office. And then I have some caseworker in the office judge me for my assets. It's not just, oh, you submit your documents and then they go away. They talk to you. They say their opinion. They say their judgments. They say their discrimination behavior. And I can only report to Albertson, Ontario. That's it. Or wait it out until they get transferred or fired or move on.
Okay.
It's been going on since 2010. Actually longer, because I've been on Ontario Work since 2004.
Good stuff. Wayne says the doctors need to be compensated for doing this admin, especially when it's this complex. Having the person who has no money, asking them to pay doesn't make sense to me.
We know that, but our system is not set up that way.
There we go. All right, young lady, that's a wrap. Thank you as always for taking the most valuable thing you have, time, with us today and educating us through your personal journey and also from what's actually out there. And I know it's challenging at times, but I know it's for bigger than you.
Yeah, there's a million people that need to know this information at minimum for Ontario. And then hopefully pockets of people, like I'm a pocket of a person that needed to figure out how to make my life better while I'm disabled. Because every time I did the budget, I knew that wall was closing on me.
Right.
Of the money running out, or my rent increasing, or my internet increasing, or my cell phone increasing, or groceries increasing. One of my videos on my YouTube channel, I spent $56 in the grocery store for a week of groceries. I can't do that anymore. Now it's 70 to 150 a week on my grocery budget. And it's just me by myself. And I'm trying to eat all the foods that's recommended for me by my doctors because they keep running my blood tests all the time.
100%. All right. That is it for today. If you want to get a hold of Minnie, there's her email address, minnyoncam@gmail.com. And I will also share that out on all the platforms that is watching this live or on the replay. So let me do that. You know what? Let me do it here. And what do you have planned? Oh, okay. Wayne has another conversation piece here. Just give me a quick second. I wanted to send out Minnie's contact information out, and then I'm going to bring in Wayne's comment. Wayne says, an investment risk questionnaire is a mandatory step when working with a client. Working with folks with as little as $50 a month is fine. Your knowledge and discipline is rare. Kudos. So he's saying kudos to you, young lady. All right. So what are you up to for your long weekend?
I have to deal with the disability office when we're done.
Okay. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go, especially on a Friday before a long weekend.
Yeah.
All right. So look, as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace and to reach out to me if there's anything I can potentially do. But I'm looking for the day I'm going to be with you and to say, remember when. Yeah. Thank you. Bye. All right. That is it. Another epic conversation. Minnie brought the house as usual. And yeah, so what is going on with everyone this weekend? What are you doing for the long weekend? For those who are celebrating a long weekend, I'm going to probably taking it a little bit easy. Yeah, I'm going to be taking a little bit easy. Yeah, I think we'll be doing that this weekend. But Monday we'll be having a replay. Since it is Labor Day, I will take a break. Yes. I think I'm actually going to maybe pamper myself a little bit on Monday. Won't say. Maybe when we come back, I'll tell you where I went. But think about doing that next Friday on the Morning Vibe. Actually, some things coming up. If you're following me on any of the platforms, I have an interview with someone who has a film that's going to be premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival. So got to put that post up either today or tomorrow. So that's just a perfect segue on why you should follow me on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also like the show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. But yeah, I got a conversation coming up next week with someone who has a film premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival next Friday. will be the first Friday of September. Wayne Harris will be here. I'm going to message him today, see what he wants to chat about, which is important. What else? I got a comment here. She's going, Alyssa, I stayed home and out of trouble. That's what Fitness IQ Cam is doing. Well, why don't you give Minnie St. Clair a call and see what trouble you two can cause? Because I have a feeling you two could cause, I don't know if good trouble or bad trouble, but I do want an invite on that that get together. I think that'd be quite epic. Also, to advertise your business product or service on the show, please feel free to email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. I got to take a break this morning. Also, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. I got it right. Yay! Remember, September 10th is approaching. 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Join Aisha K. Staggers, Laura Lala Key, Jill Jones, Wayne Harris, Ryan Knight, and Cesar Nadima Musa for live commentary on the scheduled debate between Kamala Harris and 45. Not to be missed. Not to be missed. And if you want to get a hold of Ryan, these are all the places. Website, RyanO'NeillKnight.com. LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight. Instagram, Ryan.Knight. That's KNIGHT 99. And email, work with me, at RyanO'NeillKnight.com. Myself, website, the drvibeshow.com. YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show. I'm very Google-licious, by the way. And Instagram at the drvibeshow, X/Twitter at drvibeshow, and email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And as scrolling along the bottom, these are all the places you can watch replays at the doc of this epic conversation and all my epic conversations. Well, no, this one, not all. This one especially. The Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Afro-Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube. And Ryan O'Neill Knight, YouTube. All right, so you know what we do here. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace and keep fighting. Be well and keep the faith.